This is Barbara Sagaski.
Good morning, Secretary of State.
Hi, I'll put myself on mute.
Thank you.
Boy, you've got this routine down pat, don't you, Secretary?
You've trained me well, sir.
Yeah,
Trained
right.
me well.
Uh-huh. We ready? Good. I would like to call to order today's meeting of the State of Nevada Board of Examiners for Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. Could I ask the clerk to take the roll, please?
Governor Sisolak.
Here.
Secretary of State Sagaski.
I'm here.
Attorney General Ford.
Here.
Let the record reflect we do have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 2, public comment. This is the first time set aside for public comment. Anyone wishing to address the board on any item on today's agenda, items on the agenda, please step forward, identify yourself for the record, and comments will be limited to 3 minutes. We have no one in Carson City unless Kevin's going to get up and talk, and I don't think so, right? And no one appears to be in Las Vegas. Do we have anyone on the phone or any written comments? We have no written comments. Do we have anyone on the phone? Is that a no? Okay, we have no one for public comment. Item number 3, approval of the February 9th, 2021 minutes.
Move for approval.
We have a motion on the floor for approval of the minutes. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 4, or is there anyone opposed? Since I heard 3 ayes, no, motion passes. Item number 4, state vehicle purchases.
There is one request for vehicles in this agenda item. This request is from the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Division of Environmental Protection, to purchase 2 replacement vehicles for $61,490. The vehicles being replaced meet the age and/or the mileage requirements in the State Administrative Manual, and these vehicles are funded in the legislatively approved budget. Are there any questions on this item?
Do we have any questions on the item state vehicle purchases?
None here.
Do I have a motion on item number 4?
Move approval.
We have a motion for approval on item number 4. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 5, authorization for an emergency contract with a current and/or former state employee. You want to take these? Want to do these one at a time or together? What?
One at a time.
We're going to do these one at a time. 5A.
Pursuant to subsection 4 of NRS 333.705, an agency may contract with a former employee without first obtaining Board of Examiners approval if the term of the contract is for less than 4 months and the head of the using agency determines that an emergency exists. If a using agency contracts with an individual pursuant to this exception, they must submit a copy of the contract and a description of the emergency to the Board of Examiners, who shall review the contract and description of the emergency and notify the agency whether or not they would have approved the contract had it not been entered into under the emergency provision. There are 2 requests under this item. The first is from the Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Child and Family Services. They are seeking a favorable recommendation from the board on their use of emergency provisions to contract with a former employee. The division contracted through Nevada Public Health Foundation with the former employee from February 1st, 2021 through May 31st of 2021. The former employee will provide assistance to implement the plan to prevent relinquishment of custody of children in certain circumstances that was developed as a result of AB 387 of the 2019 session. Are there any questions on this item?
Do we have any questions on item 5A?
None here.
Do I have a motion on 5A?
I move approval.
We have a motion for approval on item number 5A. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Item number 5B.
This request is from the Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Public and Behavioral Health, and they are seeking a favorable recommendation from the board on their use of the emergency provision to contract with a former employee. The division contracted through Knowledge Services with a former employee from February 15th, 2021 to May 31st, 2021 to provide technical liaison duties for statewide COVID-19 system implementation projects. Are there any questions on this item?
Do we have any questions on 5B? Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
A motion for approval. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6, we'll do these separately too. 6A.
6A, item 6 includes 4 requests to contract with former employees pursuant to NRS 333-705 subsection 1. The first request is from the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Division of State Parks, to contract with a former employee to provide administrative duties on a part-time basis. The individual is employed by Marathon Staffing Group, which is an MSA number 18405. Are there any questions on this item?
Do we have any questions on 6A? Do I have a motion on 6A?
Move approval.
We have a motion for approval. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing, seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. 6B, please.
There are 2 items under 6B. The first item, which was a request to contract with a current employee, has been withdrawn by the agency. The second request is to contract with a former employee to function as the program coordinator for the Zero Teen Fatalities program. This individual will be employed through Marathon Staffing Group. Any questions on this item?
Do we have any questions on 6B? Hearing and seeing none. Do we have a motion?
Move approval.
We have a motion for approval. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 6C.
This item is from the Department of Transportation to contract with a former employee to provide traffic safety technical guidance through the Nevada Local Technical Assistance Program, and they will provide training to both NDOT employees and transportation partners in local public agencies. This individual will be employed through Applied Pavement Technologies. Any questions on this item?
Do we have any questions on 6C? Hearing, seeing
None
none.
here.
Do I have a motion?
Yes, sir. Move approval.
We have a motion for approval. Any discussion? Hearing, seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, request for approval of payment from the statutory contingency account.
This is a request for payment from the statutory contingency account pursuant to NRS 293.253. This is from the Secretary of State's office for $227,465 to reimburse county clerks for the cost of publication for statewide ballot measures from the 2020 general election. Are there any questions on this item?
Do we have any questions on this?
None here. Move approval.
I just got one. How much is left in the contingency account? Are we getting close to the bottom?
I believe there is about $2.7 million, but I will have to double check that amount.
Okay. Any further questions? We have a motion for approval. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing, seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 8, approval of payment to the Secretary of the U.S. Treasury pursuant to the Cash Management Improvement Act.
Item 8 is a request from the State Controller's Office pursuant to Section 85 of Assembly Bill 543 from the 2019 legislative session. This request is to authorize a payment not to exceed $326,727 to the U.S. Treasury for interest owed under the Cash Management Improvement Act. The Cash Management Improvement Act ensures efficiency and equity between the time that federal funds are drawn and expended, with the state incurring an interest liability if it draws funds too early, and the federal government incurring liability to the state if the state uses its funds for federal program purposes. The amount shown is the highest possible state liability for fiscal year 2020. The U.S. Treasury is currently reviewing the report submitted by the State Controller and should provide a final determination by March 16th. If the calculations by the State Controller are accepted by the U.S. Treasury, the federal government would owe the state $23,248. Any questions on this item?
Do we have any questions on number 8?
None here.
Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
We have a motion for approval on item number 8. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 9, request for designation of bad debts.
Most state agencies turn their uncollectible debt over to the State Controller, who has the authority to request the Board of Examiners write off bad debt that has become impossible or impractical to collect. Bad debt under the purview of the State Controller cannot be removed from the state books unless the Board of Examiners designates the debt as uncollectible. NRS 463.123 requires the Gaming Commission to report the debt determined to be impossible or impractical to collect to the Board of Examiners for the designation of bad debt. Upon such designation, the clerk shall notify the state controller to remove this debt from the state's books. This item includes one request to designate bad debts as bad debts under the provisions of NRS 463.123. This request from the Gaming Control Board is to designate $1,655 as bad debt for the purpose of removing the debt from the state's books. Any questions on this item?
Do we have any questions on the removal designation of the bad debt?
Governor, this is Barbara Sagaski. My question is, I'm going to approve this, but is there a way that we cannot give them a license for something else in the state if there is bad debt until it's paid? Is there anything, because one of the groups in item 9 has a business but not gaming business, and the debt is not that much, but I'm wondering, can we tell them they can't have a business license, a state business license, if they haven't paid their debt? There's no law that says they can't, but I'm just asking the question of this group.
Well, since we have the Attorney General on the phone, General Ford, do you have an opinion on that?
I knew you were going to do that to me.
I can't help it, I'm sorry.
Madam Secretary, honestly, I'll have to look into that. It seems to be to me that if there is no law that allows it, we may have some issues trying to enforce it unless there's something else in the regulatory scheme or statutory scheme that gives you some level of discretion in that arena. Instead of putting myself on the spot right now, I'm not going to ask them to respond, but I know I have my board counsel on board, and I'm asking them to take notes on this and submit it over to Mrs. Zanino so he can look into it for you, and we'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Thank you, Attorney General and Governor. I just wanted to bring it up because it's kind of frustrating for the Gaming Control Board that they can't get anything, and so I just wanted to see if there were other options. So
Yeah.
Thank you very much for reviewing it, and I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary, and I've got my legal counsel here. Kevin has told me that he'll work with the AG's office, review the statute in terms of what flexibility we might have or abilities we might have on that one, but good catch. Do I have a motion on item number 9?
I move approval.
We have a motion for approval. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 10, approval of proposed leases.
There are 5 leases in item 10 for approval by the board today. Are there questions on any of these items?
No, but I want to thank you again for going over these with me and explaining them. It's been very, very helpful. Do we have any questions on item number 10? Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And I just want to reiterate, Susan, to you and your staff, all 3 of us are on a lot of different boards and commissions and whatnot, and the preparation for this meeting is extremely detailed and helpful and comprehensive, so thank you for that. It makes it a lot easier for us all.
And Governor, if I can echo, we want to do the same thing from our office. I cannot thank your staff enough for responding to us and giving us responses, that help us with our decision making. So thank you very much.
Right, I agree. I think we all feel that way. Item number 12. Item number 11. Approval of proposed contracts.
There are 33 contracts in agenda item 11 for approval by the board this morning. Are there any questions on any of these items?
Do we have any questions on item number 11, the contracts? Hearing and seeing none, do I have a motion?
I move approval.
We have a motion for approval. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 12, approval of proposed master service agreements and work plan.
There are 8 master service agreements under item 12 and 1 work plan in agenda item 12 for approval by the board this morning. Are there any questions on these items?
Nope. Do we have any questions on these? I know that the Secretary always asks, do we there's a process where I always check if these out-of-state companies have business licenses, right?
Yes, we
Yes,
provide,
sir.
sorry. The Secretary of State's office,
Oh, no, I was answering the governor, just saying, yes, we do check.
Okay.
yes, they check.
I knew it. I should have had to ask. I just wanted to make the record clear. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to butt into your employees, talking to staff.
No problem. Do we have any questions on this one? Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
We have a motion for approval. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 13 is an information item. Clerk of the Board, contracts.
There are 27 contracts in this item that are under the $50,000 threshold that were approved by the clerk between January 15th, 2021 and February 12th of 2021. Are there any questions on any of these items?
Nope. Anybody have any questions on this one? Guess not. Item number 14, information item reports.
Okay, there are two informational reports under item 14 today. The first report is on overtime and accrued compensatory leave for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021. My staff summarized the report into a two-page summary, so I'm just going to hit a couple of highlights on this. For fiscal year 2021, overtime pay and compensatory leave accounted for, and I'm sorry, this is for the second quarter only of fiscal year 2021. The overtime pay and compensatory leave account for a total of approximately $20 million, or 6.63% of total pay for the quarter. This is an increase of 31% from the first quarter of fiscal year 21. The total overtime for the year for the first two quarters at this moment is about $35 million. The Department of Health and Human Services had the highest amount of overtime and compensatory time at $6.97 million, or 7.7% of their base pay, followed by the Department of Corrections at $6.9 million, or 14.68% of their base pay, and the Department of Public Safety at $2 million, or 8.11% of base pay. For the second quarter, as a percentage of base salary, the Department of Veteran Services had the highest overtime at 15.63%. Approximately 40% of that is attributed to COVID-19, and that is followed by the Department of Corrections at 14.68% and the Governor's Finance Office at 10.86%. Are there any questions on the overtime report?
The COVID money is all covered by CARES Act, right?
The COVID money is covered by CARES Act, and Veteran Services, I believe, also receives some additional funds for that purpose for
Okay,
COVID.
great. Do we have any questions on the overtime report? Okay, how about Department of Motor Vehicles, Complete Streets?
And the second item is a report from the Department of Motor Vehicles on the voluntary contributions collected by a county pursuant to NRS 482.480, or the Complete Streets Program. This report is for the period of October 1st, 2020 through December 31st of 2020. And during the second quarter, the department collected $95,656 compared to $79,236 in the same period last year, and $116,562 in the previous quarter. Of the amount collected, approximately 77.8% was from Clark County, 15.7% from Washoe County, 3.19% from Carson City, and 3.29% from Douglas County. After deducting the 1% to administer the collection and distribution of contributions, the department distributed $94,699.44 for this quarter.
Great. Any questions on Complete Streets Program? Hearing and seeing none. Item number 15, public comment. This is the second time set aside for public comment. Anyone wishing to address the board on any item, please step forward, identify yourself for the record, and comments will be limited to 3 minutes. We have nobody in Carson City. I don't see anybody in Las Vegas. Do we have any written public comment? Do we have anybody on the phone for public comment? We do not. Do I have concludes public comment? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor to adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye-bye.